Hello, cheers, and welcome to the fourth episode. It's actually the second part of 1904. I thought I should add another part because I didn't actually get to hone in on a few things on the last episode because I was too busy ranting, which I completely enjoyed and was completely necessary as well, and a long time coming. Cheers. Evening time. Gin and cranberry. Oh yes. So here we go. I wanted to talk about a few things, only about the age of Aquarius, only about the age we're living in. So we're not going to worry about the age of Aries or Pisces, the eon of Isis or the eon of Osiris. We're just going to talk about the eon of Horus and the age of Aquarius. Now, many people know the age of Aquarius, and if you go to YouTube and put in age of Aquarius, the golden age, you'll see all the light, fluffy stuff that comes out and a lot of stuff that people talk about. And you'll hear a lot about clairvoyance, getting in touch with UFOs, higher frequency thinking, and stuff like this. Because Aquarius is an air sign, which air is communication, and communication is air. It's the thinking mind. So this is an intuitive bent of mind, as I mentioned last week, because of the water of air. It's got those two qualities, plus the quality of fire from the original Mars, from the eon of Isis, right? So, the age of Aries. So, it's got that fire, water, air thing going on. So, we're going to be looking at Aquarius with its intuitive bent of mind, which I mentioned last week with Jim Morrison and stuff. So, they talk a lot about things that I heard a lot about that were big topics when I was growing up. Was like clairvoyance, psychic abilities, ghosts, getting in touch with ghosts, UFOs, huge. Stuff like that, higher consciousness. Things like that, utopias and whatnot was all big back in the 70s and stuff, and 60s really came from, right? The 60s, and just carried on through. So you'll see a lot of that being talked about in other YouTube stations about the age of Aquarius, but they're kind of missing out on the realism a lot because we're in our infancy stages here. It just started in 1904. It's got 2,000 years to go. We're at the very beginning stages. This is just the chaos stage where we're breaking down the old and bringing in the new. Advancing, right? Or hopefully advancing. But there's going to be crazy stuff in that chaotic time. And so we'll have to take a look at that, right? And things aren't going to be totally utopia down the road like they have anyway. Everybody's just going to be floating around like, they go a bit overboard on that. It's not really like realistic, but take a look at it. It's worth it. And so let's talk about clairvoyance. So yeah, there's a lot of things that came out. I was young. Everybody's talking about clairvoyance, and then later in the '80s, in the '90s, it turned into channeling. Everybody's talking about channeling, and And I was talking last week how everything was kind of taken on a childish level. There's a lot of people believing anything. And to kind of like hold back on heavy beliefs and stuff like that for a while because you get the craziest stuff coming out right now. It's like out of control. So people believe like almost anything, craziest stuff coming out in these last few decades. So you got to be really careful. UFOs. Well, I do have a story about a UFO, and I did read a ton about them because me and my mother had an event happen when I was 13. So I'd be 1977, around 1977, coming home from getting a mouse for my snake, and we were coming from Sheridan Mall in Pickering, Ontario, Canada, which is now called Pickering Town Centre. Back then it was called Sheridan Mall, and we were coming up Westney Road, an old road next to the farms, which is no longer farms. If you know Ajax, Ontario, Canada now, there's no farms anymore, man. It was all farmland. My neighbors were actual cows back then, so that should tell you. So we're coming back. My mom spots this thing in the sky, and it's coming. It's kind of hovering around Sheridan Mall. All of a sudden, it just whoosh comes over us, and we're like, woo. We're looking out the windshield of the car, right? It's like this massive craft, right? We're like, whoa. And that just, when you see something like that, you're thrown into kind of like a state of shock almost, right? It's crazy. But I got to redo my cap here. But so my mom rolls down the window, and the wind is blowing her hair back, and she's screaming, Mike. She's getting me all freaked out. I'm like 13. I'm just totally freaked out. Let's get out of here. They're going to zap us, right? Because the way my mom sounded like we're under attack or something. And So she's leaning out the window. I'm like, let's get the hell out of here. There's this massive craft. So eventually it goes over us. It's going slow now. It's headed toward the, what we'd say the off-ramp towards the 401 almost. Back then it was Harwood Avenue. Now it's Salem's Road or something like that. Salem's Road to me was an old dirt road that we used to take the girls up to this cemetery to scare them. We used to call the cemetery Salem's Lot after the movie. But anyway, so we're going down this, so the UFO was headed that way. And when I say UFO, I should say alien craft because it's not unidentified. It's clearly identified as not a human, right, man? Like this is like beyond. So it's there, and it starts to look like a plane the more it goes away. And it's like it's got these lights coming in and out. It was really weird. And these little white lights coming in and out different directions. And then it's kind of like disappears and starts to look like a plane off in the distance. I thought, wow, that was incredible. And we didn't want to tell anyone because when you're from a small town, you might not want to say things like that you saw a UFO because people in small towns, everybody knows everybody talks, right? So weren't going to say anything. And then on the radio, we're hearing other people calling it into the radio station going, hey, we just saw a UFO. It's down by that 401. And we're like, we saw it first. So we thought, let's call it in. So I forget who called it in. Maybe my mom or something. But we decided to call it in. These people came up from the United States to interview my mom. I don't know if they were Army guys or what. I forget kind of now. But they were Project UFO. There was a Project UFO thing. They were sending us magazines. I think there was a TV series, Project UFO, for a while. So maybe our story was on there. I don't know. We probably signed our rights anyway. We probably haven't gotten any money from that. But so we did have a pretty good close encounter. Close as I want to get. Not really. I would love to be abducted. Sorry. But, I don't want to be probed or anything like that if that's what actually goes on. There's enough of that going on in my society. I don't need to be abducted by aliens. Got to worry about being abducted outside your window. Well, not me anymore. I'm too old for that now. They're not interested in me. Anyway, so yeah, UFOs, big topic, higher consciousness, everything, all that sort of stuff. Huge psychic, tarot, astrology, a lot of it on the level of a toddler, like I said in last week. Sorry, so we won't go back into that. Individual. I want to get into more of the serious stuff. The individuality thing that Aquarius brings with it separates the people into individual units. Good and bad. People all of a sudden may feel alienated, alone, that nobody understands them. And of course, what's going to happen? Suicide's going to go through the roof because nobody feels that they're connecting with anybody anymore. They feel alienated, like, you know what, I feel like I'm just I should be on a different planet, like I was born in the wrong time. And you hear more and more people talk like that. And you, in fact, hear masses of society talking that way because that's what Aquarius does rule that, the individual. And I wanted to put forth something last week, but I never got around to it because I was too busy ranting. Aquarius, when you're looking at the person, it's almost like every person is seen as a planet. No two planets are alike. Every planet has its own unique properties and weather and all kinds of different things about it, right? And it has its own orbit. And what happens if another planet gets into that orbit? What's the inevitable conclusion to that? Collision, right? That's going to play a big role in this, with what I'm going to be talking about today. So each person is like an individual planet with their own orbit, their own path. A lot of people talk about their path in life and stuff like this. Well, that's what it's kind of talking about. And I talked a little bit about it in the first episode of the occult meaning of Peter Pan. Tinkerbell, that inner spirit of yours, getting in touch with the Holy Guardian Angel, who the Tinkerbell is a representation of the Holy Guardian Angel. Your innermost spirit. That is the one when you connect with that sets you on your path, that helps to keep you connected and you go, yes, like focus on that. And some people have that naturally where they can just focus on their path. So they're not bouncing and going into other people's orbits, because that's one of the big problems of today, is people nosing into other people's business. They have no right. It's just a bunch of gossip. That's what I was saying last week, gossip. So that is a huge problem. But we'll come back to that, because that's one of the biggest things I want to talk about. The individual unit, the me generation, me, me, me. It's all about me, 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 because they are the center of the universe. But they're in their infantile stages now. So it's a bit childish. So yeah, they're going to be like, it's all mine, mine, mine. So they just greed, greed, greed. Wall Street, everything. So you're going to see things of the ego go through the roof. narcissism, sociopathy, and the inability to connect to people because they are their own unit. They're having trouble connecting to people. More and more parents are killing their children. More and more children are killing their parents. It's happening every day. In fact, all through the States, if you follow true crime, you'd be amazed at how many parents are killing their children. It's incredible. And most of it doesn't even make the mainstream news. You have to dig it out like I do because I follow true crime. So I look it up and I find tons of it every day. It's happening all the time. And it's getting worse and worse, right? So that disconnect is even happening with parents and kids. Just not connecting. It's not just that the parents are both working. That makes matters just that much worse. But even if they are there, there's a lot more disconnect happening. So you gotta keep that bond. So you're going to see narcissism and sociopathy, Wall Street, the Wolf of Wall Street. I find, like, I study that stuff for my true crime stuff, but a lot of people mistake sociopathy as being just crime and serial killers. It's not. The majority are actually just in business, in your workplace. Your workplace probably has a few of them. There are people that are probably higher up or struggling to be higher up, and they won't. Yeah. So the sociopath, easy to recognize them. The narcissist, they have to feel above you. That's all that matters is they climb above you. They're above you. That's what they're all about. They need a ladder to climb, so they can't be in factory work. They're not content at one machine. There's nobody to conquer. There's nobody to give orders to. When they look at a room, they want to see how to control it. And the power, how you notice them is this. This is how you can find a sociopath or narcissist. Their incredible likableness is like no other. It's not like I know one lady at work, everybody knows, I don't want to censor her out, poor Sue. She's just truly a kind person. Just everybody loves her and she loves everybody, and this natural human being. She's not a narcissist. On the other hand, you have the narcissist who can do what this lady Sue does, but on a different level. You can hate them 1 minute. They can do something totally despicable to you, which they have no problem doing, mind you, selling you off. But on the other hand, you can go up to them all mad, but by the time they're finished talking to you, it only takes like 3 minutes. You find yourself talking to them and actually liking them. They have this power, this ability of communication and a chameleon-like ability to adapt to the moment. It's incredible to watch. I love studying it. So I've got a couple of people at work I study. I can't help it. It's my training, right? So I study them because it's interesting. And it's incredibly powerful how powerful they can be. These are your Wall Street people. These aren't people to joke around with. They will take your grandmother's credit card and they will take it from her and they will leave her destitute and they won't lose any sleep. Okay? There's a couple of people in my work have that capacity. Okay? I've seen them treat people who are very elderly. I've never seen anything like it, actually, and leave your jaw on the floor. And you think you're never going to talk to this person again until they talk to you, and you like them all over again. It is incredible. That's your narcissist. So when people say, what's a sociopath like? I say, who's your best friend in life? Who you most trust and tell your secrets to? Who you're closest to? And they'll think of somebody, and I'll go, there's your sociopath. That's the ability they have. They have the ability. I'm not saying your friend is a sociopath just because they're close to you and likable. I'm saying that you wouldn't know a sociopath if they slapped you in the face. You just don't know them when you're talking to them. Step back and look how they operate. They need to be in control. They need to feel above you, even if they have the same position. They will strive to be above you. They're narcissists. They're here, you're down there, man. That's it. That's their view. You gotta be careful. Don't bring them home. Don't bring them around your children. And kids, that's what you don't want that kind of crap rubbing off on them. Keep your soul, man. Your spirit. Because they become hollow after a while. They're just after, their own selves. They're just the me generation. But really, it's a kind of sickness. So you see a ton of narcissism coming through the open-mindedness and impartiality. Yes, there's going to be lots of positives, tons of positives. Really intelligent people, really, even at a young age, there's just going to be naturally bright, intelligent people coming out of the woodwork with all sorts of talents. Okay, you will see that. Impartiality, yes. You're going to see black and whites getting together. It's going to be wonderful. All kinds of people blending and no discrimination. They don't want to do that. On the other hand, you'll have your war people, the people who aren't maturing very fast and are going back to the ape age. They just want to shoot you. They just want to go to war, man. And they're doing it right now. And Canada's wanting to get more money for war. Okay, an enlightened society would have no weapons. They wouldn't have a need for them. We're not enlightened. We're the very opposite. We're still in the swamp, like swamp monkeys, and a very dangerous society. That's the reality. That's what I'm saying. When you go to these YouTube channels and you look at the Age of Aquarius or the Golden Age, if we live that long, which we're probably not going to, live as long as they think. So I'm not really big on their videos because I don't think we're going to live that long. I don't think we're maturing fast enough. And I think the toys are winning and the children are winning the day. But we'll still see. I've been wrong before many times. So, I hope I am wrong. But I don't know. So far, it doesn't look too good. Women's liberation. Okay, no. Bisexuality, gay, transgender, they are an unstoppable force. Like I said before, no church, nobody can stop them. They are going to crush everybody in their path, and there's nothing that any spiritual being can do about it. Okay? Because that book is outmoded now. Gone. These people are going to come in, they're going to change the laws. And a lot of these churches will change their morals and everything outlook to suit it for business reasons. They still need to be in business. Okay, for all sorts of reasons, or they'll just get warped. They'll still be involved with a religion that really despises gays and it didn't like them, and yet they're going to find a way to twist it where they are now likable. And you'll find, like I said, you're going to find all kinds of warped beliefs in this early stage of chaos, because that's what it is, chaos, and that's why people are committing suicide left, right, and center. Where do you fit in chaos? When a building's crumble, which room are you going to go to? The whole building's crumbling. There is no room to go to. The building is coming down around you. So basically, that's why a lot of people just want to have fun and I'm just going to do this, do that, just bouncing off walls and stuff. It's a pretty touchy time for people, But the bisexuality, gay, they are an unstoppable force. Keep going. We're behind you. 100. Women's liberation. The Me Too movement just shows just how primitive we are. We are still way back. That's the patriarchal stuff, still hanging in there, right? So they are women have a long way to go to reach, to that equality. Okay, a long way to go. Check it out. It's everywhere. So, let's see. You're going to see chaos and disorder and a striving for more freedom, because Aquarius is in Uranus demands freedom. It will kick down every barrier and break every chain. Demands freedom. So that's where your punk movement comes in. People who just stand in, they're rebels. I love those guys. I love it. I love the rebel music. I don't like weak people who just, do I have to do this now? What, you're a natural born slave or something? If you want to be a slave, I guess, well, it's just like if you want to be a doormat, there's always going to be someone to wipe their feet on you. Don't be a doormat. So, I need another drink and I can't run. I'll just leave the camera going. I should have made 2 drinks. I got some old coffee. I'll go make a drink after this. Let's keep going. So, freedom. So you're going to see that. And freedom came out in tons of ways. The very first full frontal movie, Hair, came out in the 70s, I think it was. That was the first full frontal... I forget the actress. She's actually a famous actress. She volunteered to be the first liberated woman to go out there and bear it all for the cameras. And that was a big move for women, eh? And a lot of people look down on that. We're going to get down about that. We're going to talk a little bit about that orbit stuff and gossip in a bit. Okay. Abortion laws, stuff like that. Women seeking more freedom. They don't want to be told. They were slaves for 2,000 years when Christianity was at its most powerful. But women don't realize just how much slaves they were. They should look back into their history, real history of how you were treated, how your lips were actually sewn shut when you were talking too much. Yeah, I put up a video on my site a little while ago, and then I took it down because I felt bad because it talked about 10 horrific things women had to endure during the last patriarchal age. If you saw what women had to go through, it was not an all-loving time. Trust me, it was not a good time for women. Just barefoot, right in the kitchen, and tortured. killed and all kinds of things. Reality. God, Horus, god of war, World War I, World War II, the atom bomb, we saw all that. War still going on, unenlightened society, still in its early stages, monkeys everywhere. See, that could end the world right there. You have a police state is the lowest form of society you could possibly have. Monkey stuff, caveman stuff, police states, cameras at every corner. They're convincing you that we need to be more and more restricted, and that's actually causing the problem. But people aren't getting it. Anyway, we don't need police states. That's the last thing we need is that kind of person. Children with guns, and the lowest form of person with guns. Okay? Who want to feel powerful by having control over other people. You're getting into that narcissism, that monkey stage. Worst kind of world comes out of that, man. Just slaves. People as planets, I already mentioned that. Unique properties. We have our own orbit. That's the most important thing. I mentioned Robert Downey Jr. last week. He was at the very lowest point of his career. Okay? The very lowest bottom. Then he uses magic. He starts to hone in his energy, focusing it on a certain point, he becomes using the best of his abilities and utilizing the best of his abilities and making the most of it. He expands it by 10 times, shoots from the bottom, goes right to the top overnight. Bang. He's back on top just overnight. Okay, that took a lot of hard work. But of course, everything's hard work. It's well worth it. This is a guy who learned to use magic and thelema, to the will. And he learned to use his natural abilities and to make the most of his. Other bands have done that. Mathematicians. All these people use it to make the most out of their particular planetary qualities and to make the most of it and to be the best they can be. That's the point. He was the best he could be. And he was. Look at Iron Man, the very first Iron Man, when you can see the magic just pouring off this guy. You can see he didn't use it for the other films as much. You can actually see he's just kind of running off the old steam there. He should have kept the hard work up, but whatever. He's just enjoying some of the fruits of his hard labor. So, but the first Iron Man, you can really see he's focused. He's going to make that point, and then he can have fun like in the Avengers, that next Avengers. He's just riding it like a surfer. He's just so happy to have regained himself. It's just really good to see him, and that was the first Avengers when he's just riding the wave. You can see him riding that wave. Then there's Iron Man 2, which you can see he's not using magic so much. But it's nice to see that, though. You can see the difference. Okay. Women's Fight for Equality, Me Too movement, the Me Too movement. And now they just, Thursday, March 7th, narrowly confirmed Ketanji Brown Jackson to become the first black woman on the Supreme Court. Everybody's jumping up and down like an excited poodle. Not me, because I'm happy for her, yes. But I'm thinking, oh my God. And then I saw this comment, well, it only took 233 years, but here we are. I agree with, I'm kind of where that lady was. Well, okay, yeah. We just kind of peeked our head out of the swamp. But we're still fully in the swamp, but we're just peeking our eyes out. But yeah, I guess I'm excited for that. We can peek out over the swamp. Okay, well, wow, we got a long way to go. That's what it tells me. And she only won 53 to 47, but that's probably not all racism and stuff. Tons of politics, Democrats and, Republicans going at it as they usually do. So, you can't really speculate on that, what's really up there. It's a lot of it's politics. Hunting black people in the USA. Notice that you don't hear about that anymore. I was following it for a while, and black people were being shot every day. It was hunting season, literally, for black people in the U.S., and it wasn't all on the mainstream. You had to look for it and find it. The shootings are everywhere. Unarmed black people just being blown away just for, reaching for their license to show the officer. He goes, what are you doing? Hey, boom. They were hunting them, okay, like animals. There's no other way. They were told to settle down and stop doing that. How do I know? You don't hear about it anymore. And I'm looking for it. I'm digging, not seeing it as much. So they've been told to lay off the hunting for a little while till things calm down. Then we'll let you go out and get a few, shoot a few, put their heads up on a mantle. Yeah, it's a dangerous time, man. Watch for these sociopaths. Watch for these narcissists to shoot you. They don't care, man. And they look like everyday people. They're in uniform too, a lot of them. Oh, I thought it was my taser, she says. No. It was the 10-pound gun you just took out and aimed at his head. That lady cop that shot that black guy. Said she thought it was her taser. Oh my God. One of the stupidest people could believe that. Anyway, so they stopped hunting black people for a little while. It's probably still happening now and again. They're probably saying, what'd you do that for? I told you, keep it down. I'll let you know when it's safe to go hunting. So here we go. Let's take a look at a couple things. LA County suspends official travel to Florida and Texas over anti-LGBT bills. This is April 7th, 2022. So you can still see problems. I'm just kind of keeping an eye. You watch for stuff, see how it's going, what's happening in the news. Historic Supreme Court confirmation comes at a time. I just mentioned that the first black lady into the Supreme Court. It comes at a time when some in the GOP are trying to reverse the LGBTQ rights, trying to go backwards, back into the swamp, the old patriarchal days when women were tortured and kept as slaves. Lovely. April 7th, 2022. After 2 failed attempts, Canada bans conversion therapy because these dingbats thought that they were possessed by homosexual demons or something. And that they could cure them of homosexuality, like it was a disease. That's how dumb these people are. That's how stupid. Indoctrination makes people stupid. Okay? That's the dumbest thing. That's so dumb, it's funny. Okay. Conversion therapy didn't work. It was cruelty to people. They had to stop it. Of course, they had to put a ban on it. It was idiotic. And no, it doesn't work. Neither does your faith healing. Get it over it. Take it to the hospital. Put it to the test. No, I don't think so. Nah. But they won't let us try. Yeah. A gay couple were attacked at a church and prayed over to make straight. Lily Wakefield, September 17th, 2019. So you're still getting this stuff. They're attacked at a church and prayed over to make straight. That's not going to make them straight, praying over them, okay? They were tricked, and then 12 to 15 people jumped them. One was pounding them in the face. And the pastor saying, it's a sin, it's an abomination. You need to realize, wake up and see it for a sin. They're pounding the guy out. Hopefully he got charged. Sent to jail, and maybe got some sodomy given to him for a switch. Am I going to die? Another guy says, this is a different one. Am I going to die? Gay man testifies in church beating trial. A North Carolina man thought he was going to die when members of his evangelical church beat and choked him for 2 hours to expel his homosexual demons. Homosexual demons. Gay demons with cappuccinos. And pink loafers. Unbelievable. Gay demons, eh? Anyway, this guy had gone through chemotherapy and all kinds of things. He thought they were going to break his neck. He was pretty frail. These idiots are pounding him out and stuff and choking him. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Good movies, but real life? No, that means you're crazy. Okay. 2 church leaders blame LGBTQ people for coronavirus pandemic. March 25, 2020. 2 ranking church leaders have blamed LGBTQ people for the coronavirus pandemic, currently spreading globally and imperiling billions of lives. Take a look at this guy. Hey, look at that. He stole my grandmother's tablecloth. He's wearing it right in public. How bold is that? Mr. Raymond Burke. Here's what a priest said. The church is making life hell for millions of gay Catholics, even though the clergy is full of homosexuals, says priest fired by the Vatican after coming out. Father Christoph Karamsa, stripped of post on the day he said he was gay. In furious letter to Pope Francis, he has accused the Vatican of hypocrisy, condemned church for causing immeasurable suffering to gay Catholics, called on gay cardinals, bishops, and priests to abandon brutal church. They should let them get together and be gay, and that would stop them from raping the altar boys. 1 million children are raped by clergy every year. 1 million. But they're always pointing other people. Oh, look over there. Oh, anti-abortion. But we can rape over here. Or how about the residential schools? Yeah, we can rip kids from their mother's arms, take them to a school, force a new language on them, right? Force a new religion on them, then beat, rape, and kill them. Hundreds across Canada. But other people are the bad guys. You're murderers and rapists. My God. Amazing society. Italian court annuls marriages of hundreds of gay couples who wed abroad. October 2015. The Amanda Knox case. If anybody wants to follow a case that's almost like barbaric medieval times, but it's happening now, go to Italy. You'd think that was the planet of the apes. Knox was... They claimed she was a sex-crazed freak who used her wiles, her wily ways. That's how the Christians saw women, as being very wily ways. And they tortured them for 2,000 years. And it's amazing they're even still supported by women, but whatever. Yeah, I don't, maybe they don't look into the history of what happened to them for 2,000 years when they were in power. They really should. Slave cult. Anyway, you're free now. Don't worry about it. Well, somewhat. Anyway, it was a witch hunt, and you really got to take a look at that Amanda Knox documentaries. Incredible. After she was finally released, a TV journalist tells her father that the longer she waits to sell her story, the lower the price will be. And the father says, I'm not really looking at her as a hot property. The shell-shocked Mr. Knox responds. So everybody in Italy is like all these like religious freaks and stuff. And just they're on the level of a toddler, right? 21st century witch hunt. And you hear it from higher ups there, just talking like imbeciles. It's just like, wow. When I actually watched it for myself and saw it like live, I was like, there's a country I'll never visit. I can't go there to that kind of barbarism. I don't care what their buildings look like. Those people are barbaric. That's as dumb as... I can't get it. You can't get any more stupid than that. Even after DNA evidence was pointed to the murderer, Knox and her boyfriend, and the DNA pointed toward Rudy Guide, who was a criminal who recently fled that place. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe just because he just murdered somebody? They still wanted to keep her involved, calling her Foxy Knoxy, and they believed that she was a rapacious and perverted killer who persuaded both Guide and the other guy to kill the girl. So she was convincing the two guys to kill by offering her body. This, oh my God. And the big hot shot here, Mignini tells the camera, pleasure at all costs. They are such sex freaks. Now, they had sex problems, right? Big time. So they just want it to be all about sex, right? Wow. It's and she says something really smart here. She goes, and this is Knox afterwards, she says, I think people love monsters, and when they get the chance, they want to see them. Knox tells the camera, mulling what happened to her, we're all afraid, and fear makes people crazy. Now that's an intelligent woman. She should run Italy. Holy God, they take over from those stupid people, those delusional people. My God. Anyway. So they figured it was so they kept trying to convince the courts that it was a deviant orgy gone wrong, probably trying to raise the devil and Satan and appease them, Just madness. Okay, let's get on with it. Watch Amanda Knox documentaries. Okay, here's some stuff that do directly with the Aeon of Horus. Every man and every woman is a star. This is one of the sayings of what's called the Book of the Law, the New Age. Every man and every woman is a star. And that's what I was talking about before. They have that eternal spark. They are part of the whole. They are therefore as much part of God is of God. If you're looking at them as a god or goddess, you're as any woman is as much part of the whole goddess as their idea of the goddess. She is part of the goddess. Therefore, she also is omnipotent, omnipresent. She's gathering experience. No matter what she goes to, she can come out the other end the same. That individual spark never changes. No matter what she goes to, she comes out, there's that which remains unmoved, untouched. And this is the New Age, is coming to that realization that we are part of the all. Like a big clock. If God's a big clock, we're all parts of it. you take away a part, the whole clock of God just crumbles. Okay? In that sort of sense. And that's where the Aquarian age is starting to see us as, oh my God, we are part of the all. Individual units, but intrinsically important to the whole thing. Everybody plays an important role. There are no difference. So there's no higher ups. We got to get rid of that stuff. The rich man and stuff and all that. But people, like I said in the last episode, are not likely going to give up their toys and their greed. It ain't going to happen. There are sociopaths everywhere. Narcissists everywhere. They're not about to give up what they want. They just want to look better than everybody else. That's actually what they're after. To look down on you. So that they appear important because they're missing the inside. They have to build up on the outside. Some people do it with muscles. And another narcissist will do it through their work to appear more important. They'll buy an expensive car even though they freaking work at, Tim Hortons or something. They got to save up for a Lamborghini. They got to look important. Toys are everything, man. Anyway, nothing wrong with Lamborghinis, but I mean, I'm just, you know what I mean. I hope. So every man and every woman is a star. Unique, okay? And as important to the whole. So that's one of the new things that comes in with Aquarius. Okay? You don't have to look out for God. You are part of God. You are doing part of that will. So you are, in a sense, God. And we are all aspects of God. The one, you don't have to look elsewhere. It's in you. That's what the Buddhist was trying to tell you. Don't go out there. Come in here. That's what they meant. Your spark is the spark of the all. So what you doing praying to something else? Pray to yourself. Better yourself. Don't become a narcissist. Your rights end where the next person's begins. You have to see the whole. That's that crux that people are trying to cross. Right? And that's the problem. The meddling into other people's affairs. That's the last thing I want to get out. This is where the biggest people gossip. People meddling and telling you, I don't think it's right that people have orgies and stuff. I just think that should be illegal. I don't believe that's immoral. I think that's immoral to see a bunch of people getting that and sleeping with one another. Just, it's like, what are your business? These are all adults. Shut up and go mind your own business. Nosy Parker. I don't have anything to do with group sex, but I could care less what a bunch of adults are doing. That's none of my business, and it's none of yours. Grow up and get those binoculars away from the window. Jeez. That's the biggest problem. That's what we were talking about. When one planet gets into the orbit of another, and you're allowing the government to do that with you. The government's getting into your orbit. Okay? And they're starting to make things like childish and stupid. It's getting really childish out there. That's why you have so much revolt, too. Stupid people on both sides. So I'm going to be mentioning some of this at the end. I'll play some of my own crappy music because for copyright reasons, I think I can find some somewhere that has no lyrics, just stuff that I was hacking around with. And I'll play some music and put up some cool quotes for you. Okay? Instead of me reading them, I'll just put the quotes up and you can listen to some music and check out the quotes and stuff. That'll mean more to you as you can read it. But I'll read some of this. Every man and every woman is a star. Every star is the center of its own universe. Okay? It's a simple, original, absolute, can add to its omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence without ceasing to be itself. That its one way to do this is to gain experience, and that therefore it enters into combinations, which its true nature is for a while disguised, even from itself. So it's going through different things and different experiences in order to gather experience and and so on and so forth, right? But it's going to come out unchanged. Watch. Analogously, as an analogy, an atom of carbon may pass through myriad protist phases, appearing in chalk, chloroform, sugar, sap, blood and brain, not recognizable as itself, the black amorphous solid, but recoverable as such, unchanged by its adventures. So it can be all those things, chloroform, sugar, but you can revert it right back to its black amorphous solid, which it originally was. So that's kind of the idea. You can go through all this stuff, but you come out unchanged. You have that spark, that Tinkerbell. If you watch the first, your holy guardian angel, your spirit, your inner spark. That's what they're talking about in the Age of Aquarius, that getting in touch with that. All right. yeah, if one planet should enter in the orbit of another, they would eventually collide. So that's one of their big things. Stay out of other people's business. Hey, I don't know where people get the think that they love telling other people what to do. It's that power thing, that narcissistic. What's he doing? He can't do that. He can't ride his bicycle on the sidewalk. Shut up, or I'll kick you while I go by. I'm staying on there so I can stay alive. And I'm not running anybody over, and I will never collide with anybody because I'm only going 0.000 miles an hour. And when I see you coming, I get out of your way. But you should see the looks I get when I'm on the sidewalk trying to stay alive by these morons. Is that okay? Should he be doing that? Shut up. Yeah, stop meddling in other people's affairs. That includes the government. And people, do not let this become a police state, please. The worst possible world you can imagine. Bunch of armed people, the lowest people you can imagine with guns, children with guns. Get off it. Get off it. Holy mackerel, what a world. No fun in that world, I can tell you. Just join the Al-Qaeda while you're at it. That's why they're coming down to comedians now. You notice it's getting so tense. People are they can't even handle comedians now. They're losing their sense of humor. It's a really tough time right now. I forget what they're calling it. There's a word for it. A lot of people are talking about it. These phases that children are going through. That's why Will Smith should have never touched him. It's a law thing. That's his job as a comedian. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be around a comedian. If there's going to be comedians present and you're going to be in the front row, you're going to get nailed. If you go to a comedy show and you're in the front row, you're going to get nailed. And if you get nailed and act like a suck, you ought to be slapped. You ought to be slapped. Not Will ought to have been slapped. Not Chris. I'm glad he's gone for 10 years. And I'm not watching him in any more movies. I can't stand that guy anymore. Little white privileged black guy. Rich, eh? He's got white privilege on his black ass. Yep. No, I'll stick with Chris. Anyway. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Other people have heard this when they're gossiping about Aleister Crowley. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Do what your will is. Do what thou wilt, what you're being willed to do. Your natural will. Want you to do things. Want you to grow and learn. But if you're lost and not paying attention to it, you're bouncing out into other people's orbits. You're just going to be causing havoc for yourself and for everybody else. It's just chaos, right? This is what it means. Not do what you want. That's how the children interpreted it. Morons. If you look on the internet, there's a lot of morons who went, just do what you want. So just do whatever you want. What are you, stupid? They never read the book. Do what thou wilt. Do your true will shall be the whole of the law. You do that and everything would be fine, man, because your will is not to destroy another person's. Trust me. Your rights would end where the next person's begin. You would fall into a natural order, a natural cycle of nature, which you were a part of. You just don't maybe know that. Okay? So it does not mean do what you want. Those children said that, the gossipers. The ones that also said he was into black magic, the morons. So the word thelema, remember I mentioned that? Greek word for will? That's what he's talking about. The word of the law is thelema, will, your will. Okay? And that's what Iron Man used to do the best he could be. It had nothing to do with anybody. He was just focusing on himself. You focus on your stuff. Get the hell out of somebody's other's garden. Stop looking over the fence. All right? Children. Let them have their orgies. And by God, prostitutes should be protected. God, there's been enough murders for the last how many decades? When are you going to protect the prostitutes? You haven't got enough jobs for anybody. And most prostitutes are prostitutes because they've been abused when they were young, probably, by their own family members. Okay? So start protecting them. These women. God, stop putting them down. Some guy's born with a deformity. He still wants to get laid, but no woman's going to sleep with him. So why can't he phone somebody up? Why can't he get a call girl and get some pleasure in life? Sexual pleasure, that's immoral, that's not moral. And shut your mouth. Shut your little mouth. Turn off that little brain of yours. for a moment. Oh, God, it's disgusting. Disgusting little, your perception, like those blinders on a horse, eh? Mule, more like. Sorry, I'm going to go into a rant, but protect the prostitutes, would you please? Thank you. Love is the law. Love under will. Some people hear that. Nothing wrong with that. Love is still in there first and foremost, but love under will. Your will first. Love is blind. So keep it in control. Right. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great little thing. Love is the law. Love under will. I love that. Every number is infinite. There is no difference. That kind of goes with your planet. You're a part of the whole. You're a part of everything. So there is no difference between you and any other person. Everybody has their own unique number, but every number is infinite. There is no difference. I love that. This is all from the Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley. This is what he was concerned with in real life, not like what the children said about the black magic. Every number is infinite. There is no difference. Although each star has its own number, each number is equal and supreme, an equal part of the all. I love that. The center is everywhere, the circumference nowhere. That's me getting a little deep. I'm not going to go into, sorry. For pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. Pure will, just doing it for the joy of it, not wanting money from it. Just like I started this YouTube channel. I don't care if I get no money from it. This is what I enjoy. I don't care about the money. I'm working 5 days a week. I'm fine, thank you. So that's it for me. I'm going to show a few quotes from the great Jack Parsons, the rocket scientist, and that'll be it for me. And so we're going to show that for a few minutes, and that's going to conclude our show. It's just going to end after that. So I can say goodbye now. And I hope you enjoy and stick around for these quotes, because he's a really cool guy that was trying to look into the Age of Aquarius, and he's got a really firm grip on things, you might say. He's very focused, you might say. Rocket scientist, got us to the moon, started the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the largest in the world. He was the head of the Agape Lodge in United States West Coast, the Order Temple Orientis. And so he studied magic, just like Iron Man, just like Aleister Crowley. And he wanted to be the best he could be. And he got us to the moon. So he did pretty good. And he did a lot of other stuff too. So, without further ado, this is a few Jack Parsons quotes. I hope you'll like them. And don't mind the music. I'm just going to find something of mine that has no words in it. And I'm just going to throw it in there for some background. Okay, so it's probably just some stuff I was doing, sitting around thinking of different tunes I might be able to work with. I'm not even sure what I'm going to play yet. So you take care of yourself. Blessed be, and take a look at what's going on around you with the Age of Aquarius. You can see it all around you, the individuality, who's looking after their own unique wills and who's lost and bouncing off walls, and the police states, the childish stuff that coming all over the place, the belief systems just out of control, the destruction of the old age and the old hierarchies are just breaking down. Nobody really knows which room to go in because all the rooms are crumbling. It's true. We're trying to rebuild the new world. So, and a lot of people talk about the new world order and all this and one world government, and they turn it into sort of evil shit, which I'm not really interested in. And I don't think we're going to live that long if we keep going the way we are anyway. So I don't think they should worry about that because we're too busy killing ourselves. So, yeah. Anyway, and they're trying to get a big world war started, right now. So maybe that'll happen. A lot of people love war, as the children. They don't really have a sense of worth. So seeing bombs and explosions just excites them to no end, eh? Yeah. Anyway, take care. And 10 minutes of cool stuff. Less than 10 minutes to go. Got some cool sayings for you. I hope you stick around for them. I'm out. And blessed be. And take care.